Hello students, in this lesson we are going to learn about the king safety. Now you already know what a castling is, and the benefit of castling is that your king becomes safe behind the pawns. But this is not the case always. If castling leads to a position where your king is more vulnerable, then it is better not to castle. Then you can either keep the king in the center or you can go to the other side of the board. Let's look at an example. Generally, you know that if you want to keep your king safe, you should castle as soon as possible. But in this position, if you go short castle, which is not possible because then opponent will play queen h7 checkmate. You see, opponent has put two bishops toward the king side. So it does not make any sense to go short castling because your king will be vulnerable there. That's why in this position, to keep his king safe, Black played king to e7. Yes, king is safe in the center, then it is safe on the king side because no piece can attack it in the center. And white cannot capture this pawn because then we are going to take the bishop on c2. So white first plays rook c2. And now we play queen to c4. We want to exchange the queens. Why? Because our king is in the center. So if the queens get exchanged, then no one can attack our king. White plays king e2 and then you play rook to b8. Your idea is that you want to exchange the queens and you want to start the attack on the queen side. White plays g3 because white is avoiding knight f4 check. So we first play queen cross d3, bishop cross d3, and then we play pawn to b4. Now look, our king is completely safe. Both of our pieces are on the good squares and we are attacking on the opponent's queen side. So black is better in this position. Let's look at the next example. In this position, we are white and our king looks safe behind these pawns. King has castled on the king side and the reason why we castle is to make our king safe behind the pawns. But here look at the opponent's pieces and pawns. His idea is to play pawn to g4. Then he will also bring his queen in the attack and he has so many pieces on the king side that our king is not safe behind these three pawns. So we need to think about the king safety. And here white played king to f2. And you must be thinking how king to f2 makes the king safe. Let's see. Black continues with g4 and white plays king to e1. Why? Why king is going from g1 to e1? And the reason is white wants to play king d2, king c2, king b3. And his king will be completely safe on the queen side. You see, all of black's pieces and pawns, they are trying to attack on the king side. So white decided to take his king and go to the queen side. And there his king will be completely safe. This is known as the king run. King is running toward the safe square. Black plays rook g7. Black is building up his attack on the king side. And white continues with his king run, king to d2. Knight to h4, attacking this pawn. So white plays rook g1. Black plays rook g6. And white continues with king c2. And this king is now completely safe. It is far away from the opponent's pieces and it is very difficult for black to attack this king now. Black plays knight f6 and you play knight a4. Your threat is to play knight cross b6 and opponent cannot play a cross b6 because of this pin. Now you don't have to worry about your king safety and you can start giving threats to opponent. Black plays rook b8. You play knight a b2, attacking this pawn with your rook. Black defends it. And you play knight d3. Black plays knight e8, overprotecting the d6 weakness. And white plays queen c1. Couple of moves later you will find out why white played queen to c1. Black continued with queen g7 and white played bishop to c3. White is preparing a sacrifice in the center. White wants to play knight cross e5 and get 3 pawns in return for a piece and completely blow the center away. Black plays knight f6 and white plays king b3. White gets away from the second rank just in case a rook lands on g2. Just he wants to keep his king safe. Black plays king h8 and now white plays knight cross e5. A piece sacrifice in the center. Black plays g cross e5. White plays knight cross e5. White got 2 pawns for the piece. You are attacking the rook and let's say rook goes to g5. Then white plays queen cross f4. And now you can see why white put his queen on c1. White got 3 pawns for the piece and there are so many threats. Look, this rook is unprotected and white also has these dangerous passed pawns, and if black tries to play a natural move like bishop to d6 trying to block it, then white has queen cross g5. After queen cross g5, knight f7 check, and white has won a lot of material. Black is lost in this position. So when it comes to king safety, remember this general idea. Generally, king is safe when you castle, because when you castle, king gets behind the pawns and your king will be generally safe. But sometimes the king is not safe even after castling. So you need to either keep your king in the center or you need to take your king and run away to the other side of the board. If you follow this advice, your king will be safe. That's it for this lesson.